Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today, and this one is the Holman Ultrathin Christian Standard Bible in their black premium leather. Now, this is one that they've had over the years, like just tons and tons and tons of different options for it, cover options and different styles and that sort of thing. And it seems to be like an all-time bestseller. I'll do a review on it at some point, but it's like one of the first Bibles. I shouldn't say one of the first Bibles my mother bought me, but like it was a Bible that my mom bought me when I don't know, when I turned like early 20s or something like that. She's like, "Oh, you're into Bibles? Let me get you." She got me kind of the standard. I'm sure you all have seen it. It's like a black synthetic cover King James Bible from Holman, and it has the crown of thorns debossed into it. And I feel like it's just Bible 101. Everybody's seen one for sale at Walmart or probably had one at some point. But this is like the leveled up version of that. So it's got some nice features. So we'll go through it. This is a very nice box of theirs that Holman did. I love their kind of styling and their branding. For the True North logo is very nice, and just kind of the style, the matte finish. I'm not super crazy about I don't know, I feel like these are like renderings of their Bibles, so sometimes they can look a little weird or wonky. I don't know. If they're not renderings, then apologies. But if they are renderings, I'd rather see like an actual picture of the Bible, because this just kind of looks like generic black book. And obviously it's representative of it, but personal preference, I guess. But yeah, black premium leather, like they call it. It says faithful and true there on the side. Go ahead and look at the panels on the top. The other side there. On the bottom, they're all the same. And then on the back, you have some more details. And I'll go ahead and leave it for a second for you guys to pause if you're interested in reading more. Here's your UPC and your ISBN. Is that a word? And the box is just a two-piece, which I prefer, but just white on the inside, nothing fancy. Not super durable, a little on the flimsy side. Ooh, I heard it kind of creak and crack a little bit. Yeah, not super durable, but good enough for an entry level. Well, this isn't really entry level, mid level, I guess. Bible like this, it's good enough. All right, and here you can see the Bible, beautiful, gorgeous edition, very nice leather. That's what hits you first, is just the kind of the exterior design of it. Now I will have to start with saying that mine's a little bit different. You can see the red here. Which was not indicated on the outside of the box. I added the red. So that would just be something to keep in mind when you see this. It didn't originally come with red page edge gilt. It was just the silver on the page edges. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We'll take a look. But yeah, this great leather. Look at this. And look, you can see some of that character comes when you start folding it. See some of the creases and sorts of things, that kind of stuff. You can see the nice perimeter stitching on the edge there. Black on the outside, and then more in for a treat when we get into the inside. But it continues all the way around the cover. On the spine, you have the CSB True North logo, Holy Bible, Christian Standard Bible, and then Holman. One thing to note that I'm not a super fan of, I don't love sans serif fonts. I think I've said this in the past. And sans serif are like these kind of computer fonts, like what you would see on your phone or on a website. And essentially, sans serif means without feet. So it's the text that doesn't have the little feet coming off the ends of it. And I much prefer serif fonts, so fonts with the little feet for Bibles. I just think it looks nicer and more formal, as the Bible should be treated. Again, it's just me. I'm having a lot of personal preferences today, but just figured I'd share my 2 cents. As far as the spines go, or the spine ribs go, they're actually raised, and nicely so. There's 3 of them, but they're very much pressed in and raised up there. They look very good, very nicely done. Kudos on that. And then the rear cover, you see more of that leather and the perimeter stitching. Now, I'm not sure, but this leather is very soft and very supple, especially with the construction that it has here. And I've had some other Holman Bibles that have said, premium leather, and it ends up being goat skin. This would not surprise me if it was goat skin, or maybe like a very nice calf skin. It definitely feels much better than a genuine leather. If it is a genuine leather, that would totally surprise me, and I would say it's a very nice quality genuine leather, because it is very nice and soft and supple. So we're going to the inside. You can see the edge work, or sorry, not the edge work, the corner work there. Nice fold over, well done. Now, one thing to notice is that the inside stitching is red instead of black, so I think that's kind of neat to accent it, which would explain why I put the red page edges on there. I'll show you the back real quick. Put more of that corner work on the back. That one's a little meh, but it's all right. Again, these aren't if I remember correctly, this wasn't super expensive. This isn't an incredibly expensive edition, so it's to be expected. You got to give a little leeway. This isn't a $250 Allen or anything. The liner does feel like actual leather, and it does appear to have some pores and stuff in it. As far as the liner goes, it's just a black synthetic liner. Nothing to write home about. You can't see the tab here coming up onto the book block. So nice construction, very floppy. Look at that, you can roll it over. Super floppy, that's excellent. Yeah, other external features. We have that red stitching again, and then you have black head and tail bands, and you have 2 ribbons, a black and a red, and they are double-sided satin. Actually very nice, fairly thick ribbons, albeit narrow, but very high quality ribbons, very nice. Now, the page edges, obviously, it used to be silver, and I added red art gilt, which we'll see when we open it up in a minute. And Holman, I think Holman was one of those that the gilt that they use isn't like the most durable. So you can see here where it started getting a little bit kind of worn away from me probably over applying or being too strenuous with my page edge gilt adding. So just a word to the wise, you know, their gilt isn't going to hold up super great if you add page edging onto your Holman Bibles, at least the entry level ones. So I can't speak to the more premium editions, but entry level for sure. Let's go ahead and get into it. We have kind of a, ooh, look at this. Oh, I love these editions. I forgot that this was like this. Yes, for some editions, I have no idea why they did this. Maybe to make it more durable, or maybe it was like too floppy without it, which could be the case if it's an ultra thin. But you have like an end sheet here, and then you have like a couple parchment sheets here stuck together, and then you have like a secondary kind of like sheet of liner here to make it, you know, certainly more stiff in your hand. And it's not a stiff edition by any means, but it's just to add a little bit of rigidity to it. And I appreciate that because I know that this is going to hold up really well over the years. Certainly it's like a tank construction. And then you have your presentation page there. And you have your Holy Bible title page. Get in close. There you go. Now one thing I wish they would have done was this end sheet is kind of like glued onto this first page, so it makes it a little weird. They should just have like a blank sheet of Bible paper in between there to help that out. Then we have our copyright page. I'll let you guys pause it if you want. And this is the 2017 CSB text. But they have the black genuine leather, and then the brown leather touch, a navy cloth overboard, and then a brown leather touch indexed. And it is printed in China. This is the first printing, so I guess the first printing of 2018. Then we have our table of contents. Introduction to the Christian Standard Bible. If you guys haven't read the CSB, I definitely recommend it. It's an excellent read. It's very middle ground, right? It's not too thought for thought, not too word for word. I read through it and I really enjoyed it. Here's the Old Testament title page and a little chart on your abbreviations used in the CSB. Then you have Genesis, gets right into it. So this is definitely a nice, more modern font. I don't think it's Comfort Print because I think that's another company that uses that, Thomas Nelson. But it's something akin to that. It's certainly a more modern looking serif font. Let's turn the page, we'll get into it a little better. All right, and here you can see we have the book and the chapter numbers up here in the outer corners. And then we have the page numbers in the center. We have a double line drop numeral for the chapter indicators. And then we do have running headers throughout the text instead of at the top of the page. At the bottom, we do have our footnotes. So nicely done there. And you can see that there is some formatting here, poetic formatting. Let's go ahead and flip through. Now, I wish I could remember which page edge gilt I used. I always use Archival Ink. And it's been so long since I've done it now, I forget the name. It's Archival Quality Ink. I think it's called Archival Ink. I'll post the information down below if you guys are interested in it. But it's the one, it's alcohol based, so you don't have to worry about it getting wet. It'll hold up over the years. It's not going to fade. It's not going to migrate through the page. It's not going to, get speckled if you get it wet or anything like that. It'll hold up to water. To be honest, I don't know why every company that does page edge dye, why they don't use some sort of archival ink. It's kind of weird when you see page edges all spotted up like that. But either way, I digress. Here's the Psalms. I'll go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see that paper quality. It's pretty decent paper quality. Certainly, I was just looking at that large print compact Bible, another edition, and the paper quality wasn't nearly as nice as this. There is a little bit of show through, but it's not too bad, really, truly. And the paper is good quality, especially considering that it's kind of a middle of the road edition, and it doesn't have any kind of blue casting to it. It's a nice slightly warm temperature to the paper color. It's definitely not blue. It's ever so slightly yellow, which I prefer. It's just easier to read, easier on my eyes. Certainly, but very well done. Double column format, paragraph as a standard for the CSB, I feel like. I'm sure there's a couple editions of verse by verse, but the ones that I've encountered have been paragraph setting. Let's get to the end of the Old Testament here. So there we go. There's the end of the Old Testament. Your New Testament title page, Matthew. And we'll turn to 5 and 6 and see that beautiful, beautiful red letter. I don't know about beautiful. It's all right. It's a decent red letter. It's not really too red though. It's a little more, I don't know, maybe like a burnt orange or like a, what do they call that? Sepia, maybe? Kind of an orangey brown color. Different than a red, that's for sure. Any better than a red? You know, really I found over the years that like the biggest, as long as it's not like a neon pink, the biggest determining factor of how good the red letter text is how heavily the ink is applied and how evenly it's applied. Because sometimes you get where it's like very dark, and then other areas you get where it's very light. Now, that plays a lot into it. So if you have a lot of areas where it's very light and the ink is poorly applied, it makes it very hard to read red letter text. But when it's well done, it's not so bad. And that happens because when you print, if you're printing a color, the best thing you can do, say if you're printing red letter, what you want to tell the printing press to do is to slow down the print so that the ink has more time to soak into the page as it's going through the rollers. A little technical information there for you. But if your printer is like trying to speed through a whole bunch of prints of your stuff, it'll end up kind of getting blotchy or getting light in some areas and dark in the other areas. So the trick is to slow it down. But when you slow it down, you also have to spend more time cleaning the printer. So it's also more labor intensive, and I would imagine more cost intensive. And for something like this, you know, kind of mid-range Bible, they probably weren't super concerned with that, which is okay. I'll give them a pass because the rest of it is really nicely done. You can tell where the money went. I would say probably the paper, because the paper looks good to me, and definitely the cover, because the cover is very nicely done. So we get to the end of Revelation here, maybe. Come on. There we go. The end of Revelation. And then we have a where to turn section, which I love. Holman always does such a great job with their kind of their helps at the ends of their Bibles. So this has like different topics that you can turn to if you're, you know, wondering when you have to leave home, and then it gives you some references there when you're afraid, when you're feeling bitter. So some definite, you know, good quick references there as far as, you know, you wanting to turn to the specific area of the Bible that talks about these situations. It'll point you in the right direction. Then we have our table of weights and measures, length, try measure, weights, etc. Then we have one blank sheet for notes, I guess, if you want, and then it rolls right into the Bible maps. And there you go, kind of standard fare for Holman. Theirs aren't half bad. I say that and then we get to the crazy colors. I don't mind the crazy colors. Crazy colors are all right when they're done all right. I like this little world, kind of zoomed in world there so you can see what area it's specifically showing you. That's neat. So that one page, yeah, it's very thick, thankfully matte paper. So if you wanted to write and annotate on these matte maps, it would be very easy. On these matte maps, it would be very easy. And if your name is Matt and you own this Bible, it would be Matt's matte paper. And if it's on a placemat, don't get me started. Then we have more of the double liner at the end. And yeah, that's it. Man, an excellent addition. Really, I do love this leather. It is very soft and very supple, very nice leather. Yeah, I'll post a link for it down below if it's still kicking. If not, this one will be up for sale. And to be honest, this one will be up for sale either way because I have a couple editions of the CSB and I've already read the CSB. So yeah, this one will probably be up for sale if I had to guess. But the measurements of the Bible come in at just over, it's like 8 5/8 inches tall by 5 3/4 inch wide by, it's like 1 inch and 1/8 thick. So not a bad Bible, mid-size. I'll go ahead and take a look at the text. So the uppercase, we'll do the K in King. Uppercase is going to come in at a 9-point font for the uppercase versus Times New Roman. And then for the lowercase, yeah, it's kind of got that neat trick where they make the lowercase a little bit bigger. Lowercase looks to be about I'm kind of stuck between a 10 and a 10.5. Looks to be about a 10-point font versus Times New Roman. So definitely a good size font. 10-point font is a great size for reading. It'll be easy enough to read for most people, obviously. Some exceptions, like anything else. Bible Buddies, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you're wondering how many videos I have filmed tonight, it's going to get obvious as the night wears on. The craziness is going to escalate this way and go up. I don't know. Bible Buddies, any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. Otherwise, Bible Buddies, until next time, bye.